All right, here we are. Peace and blessings, party people. It is Sutton and Lace back again here with you, founder and co-founder of the Flavor Room, aka TFR. So here we are yet again with what is this, Lace? Part 3 of our behind the scenes series.
Yep, here we are. And last time we spoke to you was Tuesday, and we were talking about not shutting down your business in the holidays. And here we are coming live to you on Christmas Day because we stand on what we say.
Absolutely. Now, just to clarify, because I know there will be people who are like, "Oh, you're telling us to hustle," and no, not what we're saying. We're not hustling. In fact, we took off yesterday and we'll be off again tomorrow because we can and because that's how we have structured what we are doing, that we do not have to be on, so to speak, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
We're just standing true to our word that just because it's the holiday season, the doors don't close. Business is still businessing. Money is still being made. And so our power moves. So I think that is a great segue into our topic for today's discussion, which is distractions, right? There are a plethora of distractions that take place in the online space. So we just kind of wanted to get into that. So if you are not seeing the results that you want in your business or the momentum, you might want to lean in a little bit closer and listen to what we have to say here. So I want to start off with the lots of vague advice, vague yet definitive advice. Vague meaning just be visible. Definitive meaning you're not visible because of this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. The advice can be very polarizing in the most unproductive way by telling people, oh, you just need to post more, or you just need to have a better offer. Well, that's not really telling people how to make those things happen. And then it's definitive by positioning it as that is the problem, even though the problem that you've presented is vague. So, anyways, a lot of that is floating around. And there's this sense that in order for you to be successful, you have to follow some kind of proven blueprint or framework that someone else discovered or created on ChatGPT, and it's somehow going to work for you. And that is not always the case. There is not one way to do business. There is an infinite number of ways to do business. And the proof of that is because you have a lot of people selling the exact same thing in different ways.
Yep, that's how
Just
they
that
can
easy.
all come up with their own blueprints.
Exactly. And if there was this method that was, discovered in the Andes Mountains behind a waterfall, and it was just, the leprechaun at the end of the rainbow, where passed down from antiquity, then everybody would have a successful business. But that is not the case. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be the case. That is one of the beauties of having your own business, that you do have the opportunity to do your own thing and make it look how you want to look. That is a strength,
Yes.
not a weakness or a flaw. So, if you're listening to this, you have more than likely tried it that way. You have tried different blueprints and frameworks that promised you the moon and the stars and did not deliver for whatever reason. And what happens after that? It sends you down a rabbit hole of looking for one more solution, one more thing that's going to unlock the door to unlock your potential, right? And that doesn't happen. Maybe you get some quick wins, you get some cash injections, but how often is it really like, okay, this is consistent. I got this. I feel good about what I'm doing, what I'm implementing. I am seeing results. How often does that happen? And how often do you stick to it long enough for it to happen? So then what flows after that is, okay, I had a good run. Now I'm back on the hamster wheel, looking at all the successful people, making all the money and doing all the things that I want to do, wondering why it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the hunt again for the next thing. Sometimes that can look like joining spaces or programs that are promising to help you achieve all those things, spaces that are promising to be supportive, and all that ends up happening is they put you in a Zoom room or, some other platform. Everybody talks, and it just becomes this space where everyone vents, right?
Yes.
Organized venting sessions and dead end coffee chats. How many times has that happened? I know it's happened a lot for me. What about you, Lace?
Oh boy, yeah, I've been there, I've done that, and didn't come out with very much. So I've also been there.
Yeah, you don't come out with very much. And a lot of these spaces, granted, they mean well, but they are not structured to support growth. They are structured to support where you are currently at, not where you want to be. So that's why you get a lot of complaining and a lot of, oh, yeah, come here and we'll support you and we'll hold you and let's talk about all your problems. But there's no solutions. There's no, okay, we see you, we hear you. How can we move forward? And a lot of the time, it's also people who don't know what they're talking about and they're giving you advice. The blind leading the blind. So that's definitely not going to help you. So that ends up pulling you back down the rabbit hole, feeling inadequate, on the hunt again for something else to solve your problem. Go ahead, Lace.
No, I said exactly. And then you look back looking for the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and it never ends.
Yeah. What actually needs to happen is removing these things from your orbit, removing these things from your environment, because these are all distractions. Sometimes we think that distractions just look like something on TV, right? Or something you scroll past on social media. But all these things we're talking about here, where you're spending your time, where you're spending your energy, where you are giving your thoughts to, your money, the conversations you're having with people who you think that are here to see you win, who are not, like all of those are distractions. And that creates an environment where it's difficult for you to get where you want to be. And we can speak on this. We know this because we've been on the other side and we've crossed over. So this is not theory. These are not hypotheticals. These are things that we've experienced and we know to be true. And that's why now we want to transition to showing you what has worked for us. Right? We want to share with you what has worked for us and how you can start to implement those things into your business as we close out 2025 so that you are on a better footing to have the right soil, if you will, to plant the seeds for your success.
Absolutely, yes. And for me, some of those things have included actually cutting off places, spaces, and even people that were determined to keep me in the same space that I was, to keep me playing small, to keep me in that sense of organized venting, if you like. And those things had to go. Some of those things can be quite difficult because you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to upset so and so. That's just people pleasing. And it's also the human condition. We want to fit in by default. That's how we're wired. And it's very scary to our subconscious mind to step away from these things because it's what we're used to. And what we're used to is what feels safe. It's what feels good. It's what we want to be around. So having the balls to actually, get up and back away from that can be scary because your mind is like, no, danger, don't do that. You're going to be alone and you're going to get eaten by the saber-toothed tigers and they're going to hunt you down and all this stuff. And once you do it, you realize you're fine. Nobody's coming to eat you alive or anything like that. But you do sometimes have that pushback from people in your lives, that are going to try and keep you in the crab bucket, as it were. They're going to keep trying to pull you back. And you have to really make a conscious decision to say, do you know what? I'm backing away from this. This does not mean you have to be nasty to people. It doesn't mean that you have to be like, no, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Go away. You don't have to do that. It's just taking those steps back to create a bit of distance. And then also at the same time, doesn't mean go off and, be a hermit and go live in the woods and don't ever speak to anybody again. But it's about switching up who you're spending your time around, whether that's who you're following, what you're looking at, who you're talking to, and like Sutton said earlier, who and what you're spending your time and energy on, because that matters. And once you shift that to things that are where you want to go, people who are a few steps ahead of you or way, way, way ahead of you, and that are good influences, that are looking after themselves, looking after their business, going where they want to go in their business, or have similar aspirations, then you found your new tribe. And that stuff is actually going to lift you up rather than pull you down. So that's really, really important. It can be really hard, but it's absolutely doable. And that's just one of the things that has worked for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a non-negotiable. And to get granular with it, anyone who has had family members with addictions or otherwise, that is a key component for people to recover, is they have to change their environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that is true for anything you want in life. You can't grow a garden in, a bunch of rubble. And you can't grow a successful business if you're surrounding yourself with people and things that are not conducive to the growth of that successful business. So there's plenty of examples of this. The next thing is, stop following people on social media that distract you or people who make you feel bad about yourself. And it's not to say that these people are intending to make you feel bad about yourself, but if you find yourself seeing their content and it's not uplifting, it's not empowering to you, it causes you to start questioning yourself and the direction you're on, not from an empowerment standpoint, but if it's causing you to be like, oh, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing, it's time to shut it off and unfollow those people. It doesn't mean that they've done anything wrong or that you're doing anything wrong. It's just having that discernment to know, okay, I need to unplug from this because the path I'm on, this does not serve that path. And these are the kind of decisions that when you grow in your business, you're going to have to make anyway. This is just a very small example. This is just an acid test, if you will, of what you're made of. And are you going to be willing to do what it takes to get to where you want to go? And making these small micro decisions like unfollowing people on social media is only going to help you facilitate your growth as you move forward. So that's one big takeaway that I have that has worked for me, is just stop following people. And the next one is spending your time in spaces and programs that don't challenge you to play bigger. How many times have you invested in a space, either monetarily or just with your time, where it's safe, it's comfortable? You already know marketing, but you're still jumping into another marketing thing, right? It's a networking thing, but everybody in there is at a lower level than you or the same. There's nothing where there's a caliber there. How are you going to grow? It's going to be more of the same.
Just stay where you
are. Just stay where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So why continue to put energy into that? So that's another one, is be really conscious of where you're spending your time and where you're spending your money in these spaces. And is it really elevating you to grow? Is it really challenging you? And if you don't go into that space feeling like, ooh, I don't know, then it's not the right fit. It's not going to challenge you. If you go in, you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be easy breezy, it's not the space for you.
Mm-hmm.
Not the space for you as far as growth. If you don't want to grow, then hey, stay there. But if there's that little bit of edge where you're like, ooh, I don't know, this is a stretch for me, that's the one. because you need to be able to feel that in order to step into your next pair of shoes.
Yes, that is so true. And that was a very familiar feeling when when you came to me with this idea of what is now the flavor room. I was like, yes, but oof, this is gonna stretch me. And it felt a bit scary to sign up and say, yeah, I want to co-found this. And that's exactly why I threw myself into it headfirst. Because I was like, I know that this is what I need to be doing. So that's a very familiar feeling. And boy, it's worth it. If you can again have the balls to just go in, you know it's gonna pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last one is skipping steps. And this circles back
Big
to the
one.
whole blueprint thing. It is a big one, because how many things are promising you that, oh, you can just do these 3 things every day, rub your belly and hop on one foot, and the sky's going to open up and your business is going to be just banging. It doesn't work like that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it does, because it doesn't. And anybody who's telling you that it does, they are lying to you. You got to roll up your sleeves and do the thing. Now, does that mean it's going to be a grind and you're just going to, go through the desert 40 days without water? No, that's not what it means, but there is work required.
Yeah.
It's going to be stretchy. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's not always going to work the way that you want it to. There will be times where you're not making money. There may be long stretches where you're not making money and you just have to keep going. That's the key. That's a whole other conversation that we don't have time for today. But yeah, you got to be willing to do that. So there is no skipping steps. Blueprints are not going to save you from doing the work. You got to get out there and do it. Say again?
So you're just going to end up collecting a lot of blueprints. I know this has happened to me, where you just buy all the things and you're like, okay, yes, pieces of them do work, but there's so many other elements that are needed to build a sustainable, successful business that just buying someone's blueprint and just following that is just not enough. It's a holistic approach.
Yeah, it's not enough. And sure, that may make you some cash short term, but it's not going to build you a business. There's a difference. And that difference has been lost for whatever reason. And, that's what we want to shed light here as well. That just making a few bucks is not a business. You got to have those foundational things there. So that requires doing the thing, not skipping steps and think you're going to wake up and you're going to be making the, mythical 10K every month. No. People who are making that consistently, they have foundations in place. They put in the work. And even thinking that people who are doing that consistently have not put in the work, that's really unfair to them. And that undermines and belittles the work that people actually put in to have what they have.
Mm-hmm. And that delaying of gratification as well. If you can get down with that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. And I don't hear people in these spaces talking about delayed gratification, because the online space by and large not only rewards instant gratification, but it promotes instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talk to people who are actually like doing real things, that's what they've done.
And that's what we're
doing. That's what we're doing. Go to any rags to riches successful story. You will see those people delayed their gratification. What do we mean by delayed gratification? They had a little bit of revenue coming in. They were not going out, making it rain. They were like, okay, we have proof of concept. Let's chill. Let's reinvest where we can. Let's keep going. We don't need to start pulling from that revenue into other things right now.
Mhm.
And that takes patience, that takes discipline, that takes discernment, takes sacrifice. But I think the biggest thing that it takes is trusting yourself. Being able to fully back yourself and say, you know what? I got this.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important to find your own way and to do what works for you and to do what you feel in your heart, in your gut, in your soul. Because if you're out there just doing what Sally Sue told you to, or just following someone else's blueprint because it worked for them, that's not trusting yourself. Not when you're doing things and knowing deep down that this isn't for me, this doesn't feel right, this is not really what I want to be doing, my whole body is screaming at me to do something else. And that's when you lose that ability to self-trust, because you keep not listening to what your body's saying essentially, and then just doing what other people tell you, and that doesn't leave you in a good place at all.
Yeah, and everything that we've built thus far with the Flavor Room has been that.
Yeah, it truly has. We've broken all the rules. We've done things our way. We've done things on instinct. We've done them on gut feeling. We've done them quickly and rapidly where we've felt that's what needed to happen. And well, here we are. So it works.
Here we
Can we
are.
give you a
And
blueprint for this?
no, and it's not linear. And that's another reason why when people are giving you blueprints, like, come on. A lot of these things are not linear
That's
because
very true.
just using our experience as an example, it hasn't been, well, step one, we did market research. And step two, then we ran a beta thing. And then step three, we did this. No, we have actually done things that people 5 years into the game have not done.
Yeah.
And that's
Stuff
because
that
we
doesn't
have gone with, exactly, doesn't make sense, right? And that's what we mean why we've done what we've needed to do. And it has worked and it will continue to work. And that's probably the biggest thing I can impart with this conversation is today, is that you got to figure out what works for you, but you won't figure out what works for you until you go out and do your own thing. Not my thing, not Lace's thing, not somebody else's thing, but your thing.
Absolutely, yes. And this is exactly what we encourage you to do inside of the Flavor Room. So when you come in and we are sharing those resources and the educational tools and support, nothing in there is about do it this way, do it that way, do it my way. It's nothing like that. You take what you need and apply it as you need it. It's just an absolutely beautiful space that is going to challenge you. You are going to want to step up just by being in the space, and you will have so many opportunities to go and be successful, to go do the things that you want to do. We will give you those opportunities. We'll provide every single tool and resource that we possibly can to help you to get there. And it's something you really need to be involved in if you're serious about moving into 2026 with that self-trust, with that readiness to really propel yourself and your business forward. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and book a Flavor Fit call. Everything you need is in the comments, and we will look forward to speaking to you soon about potentially joining us inside the Flavor Room.